All right, let's talk about one of those classic backend developer interview questions. You know the one. It comes up all the time, and it can really make or break your interview. We're going to tackle the service layer question, and by the end of this, you're not just going to have a decent answer. You're going to have an answer that absolutely nails it. Let's jump in. So, picture it. You're in that final technical interview. Everything's going great. The hiring manager kind of leans forward, and they hit you with the question that's designed to see how you really think about software architecture. And there it is. On the surface, it sounds pretty straightforward, right? But this question is so much deeper. It's basically an open invitation for you to prove you understand how to build clean, scalable, and maintainable software. Don't sweat it, though. We're going to break down the perfect answer piece by piece.
Okay, so how do you even begin to construct that killer answer? We're going to look at its anatomy. First step, we've got to lay the groundwork with the core concepts. This is how you show you get the why behind the service layer, not just the what.
This is how you start. Strong, confident, and packed with the three magic words that every interviewer wants to hear: scalable, testable, and maintainable. Seriously, those three words are gold. Why? Because they show you're not just a coder thinking about today's problem. You're an architect thinking about the future of the application and the team who has to work on it.
So let's get specific. What is a service, anyway? Well, it's way more than just another class. Think of it as the brain of your application. It's this dedicated component that lives in your business layer, and its whole job is to handle the core logic. It's the critical link between your controllers, which handle web traffic, and your repositories, which talk to the database. And this little diagram shows that flow perfectly. This is a classic, clean, three-tier architecture. And notice how everything has its own job. The controller's only concern is the HTTP request. The repository's only concern is the database. In the service, it's the conductor in the middle, orchestrating the whole business process. Each layer has one job and one job only. And all of this leads to one major goal: keeping your controllers thin. That's a huge concept. It means your controller code is super simple. It basically just catches the request and immediately hands it off to the service. And why is that so great? Because when all the complex, messy business logic lives in one central place, the service, your entire application becomes so much easier to understand, to debug, and to build upon later. Okay, theory is awesome, but interviewers need to know you've actually done this stuff. A truly great answer always includes a concrete, real-world example. So let's walk through one to make this all crystal clear. Let's imagine you're building an e-commerce site. Instead of creating one giant, monstrous service that tries to do everything, you apply a super important idea called the single responsibility principle. This means every service does exactly one thing. You'd have an order service just for handling orders, a separate payment service that only talks to the payment gateway, and a notification service that only sends out emails. See how clean that is? Now, you might be wondering, how do all these different parts talk to each other? Great question. The magic behind that is a pattern called dependency injection. It sounds complicated, but the idea is simple. Instead of a controller having to build its own order service, it just asks for one, and the framework provides it or injects it. The huge win here is something called loose coupling. Your components aren't all tangled up and hardwired together, which makes your whole system way more flexible and, you guessed it, easier to test. And that brings us to the big payoff, the thing every engineering manager absolutely loves to see: testability. Because all your important business logic is nicely isolated inside a service, you can test it without needing a live database or a real credit card processor. You can just create mock or fake versions of those things and test your logic completely on its own. This makes your unit tests incredibly fast, super reliable, and really, really powerful. Answering the basic question is good, but if you really want to stand out, you need to show you understand the challenges too. This proves you're not just reciting something from a book. You've been in the trenches and you know the trade-offs. So when an interviewer asks about the hard parts, you've got a story. You can say something like, on a previous project, we noticed our services were getting too tightly coupled. So we fixed it by introducing interfaces and using dependency injection. Or we had one service that just kept growing and growing, so we made the call to refactor it into 3 smaller, more focused services. Showing you can spot a problem and solve it, that's a massive win. Now, the words you choose really matter here. You have to be precise. Saying services are just classes is kind of like saying a car is just a metal box. I mean, it's true, but it misses the entire point. Instead, use stronger architectural language like this. Services encapsulate business logic and coordinate workflows.
That shows you understand their purpose, not just their technical definition.
Phew, we have covered a lot of ground. We've talked definitions, architecture, real-world examples, even the pitfalls. So now let's boil it all down to the absolute core idea, the one thing you need to burn into your memory. This is it. This is your golden sentence. Memorize it. It perfectly wraps up the entire philosophy. Just look at what it does. It hits encapsulation, thin controllers, reusability, and of course, testability and maintainability. It is the clearest, most powerful way to state your case. And finally, never forget what's going on in the interviewer's head. They're not just ticking off boxes for keywords. They are trying to figure out how you think. They're looking to see if you understand the core concepts, if you have a mindset for clean architecture, if you can talk about real projects, and if you truly care about making code that lasts. Your entire answer should be geared toward proving you have these qualities. So as we wrap this up, I'll leave you with a little homework. Think about a project you're working on right now or one you've worked on in the past. How could you apply that single responsibility principle even better to your services? Really thinking that through for yourself is how you go from just knowing this stuff to truly mastering it. Thanks for watching.